We're living in a new age of invention. Brilliant brains are no longer just holed up in leading university labs or research facilities.
Today, inventors are coming together in technology hubs like this to design,
to help improve people's lives.
It's actually working. That's so cool.
For this series, we brought together 7 of the UK's leading engineers, designers and computer programmers.
Ta-da!
I'm going to make myself the guinea pig.
They'll use cutting-edge science and technology to build life-changing solutions for people in desperate need.
I don't know who to ask or where to go.
In pain, uncomfortable.
From helping individuals who are seriously ill
Whoa!
to solving issues affecting entire communities.
Someone's either going to get seriously injured and can't get aid, or someone's going to die.
They'll attempt to tackle major problems that have so far gone unsolved.
I think I've created something really new and possibly revolutionary.
The potential of this is massive. Fingers crossed, nothing cracks or explodes.
I'm Simon Reeve. Over the next 9 months, I'll be working with this brilliant team.
If they succeed, they could change these people's lives and the lives of many more.
This is the best thing that could ever happen to us.
Keep going, keep going! Keep going to do it!
Our team's base is in East London. Known as a makerspace, it's one of a national network of inventors' hubs crammed full of the latest technology. It's from here that our 7 leading inventors will attempt to create fixes for people with nowhere else to turn.
I'm really excited about what we're going to learn. I can't wait to meet these people.
The team includes a director from Microsoft, engineers who worked at Dyson's Innovation Labs, award-winning designers who've built everything from ambulances to earthquake sensors.
Yeah, right, let's get our sleeves rolled up and get stuck in.
The Fix team are about to begin their 3rd case, tackling one of the UK's biggest rural crimes, sheep rustling. I'm in Somerset to meet Mike, a farmer whose livelihood is being threatened by criminals stealing his sheep in the dead of night.
What's happened when you've lost sheep before? Can you just describe it?
They pinched them in 2 transit vans, and one of the transit vans broke down, and they left them in the back of the transit van, and then when we let them out, 9 of them were dead. They got suffocated, or they were trampled to death. To me, that was awful. What sort of people would just leave sheep to die in them circumstances, or let anything die in them circumstances?
Sheep rustling's one of the oldest crimes in Britain, and it's an increasing problem. It's thought almost 100,000 sheep are stolen every year, costing farmers millions of pounds.
How much of a problem is it around here?
Last year was a real problem, but the numbers are getting bigger. You know, whereas it used to be 2s and 3s and 4s and 5s, now it's trailer loads, lorry loads.
Entire flocks.
And there was one person up north had 600 pinched one night. Police don't stand a chance, you know, they've got to catch them red-handed.
I fed back what I'd learnt to the team in London.
Both sides of my family are farmers, so I'm kind of aware of actually what it's like to try and control a rural space.
An enormous challenge, I imagine. It's not like bolting your front door, is it? The space is the problem.
We need to do a kind of crime watch reconstruction. So we need to find out as much as possible about how the different crimes were committed, find out what was in common, because that's the only way we're going to really understand where the points that we can intervene in order to prevent it are.
All right.
Dr. Zoe Laughlin and Jude Pullen have come to the farm. Mike and his 3 sons have agreed to reconstruct the night their sheep were stolen.
Oh, Flask, here, fetch them on. Fetch them on, fetch them on.
Zoe is co-founder and director of the Institute of Making at University College London.
So when you're rustled, I mean, they do it pretty silently.
Yeah, they know what they're doing, and sheep will handle a lot different in the dark.
Will they be quieter or louder, the sheep?
They'll be quieter, but they'll group together more and run a lot easier.
So you have to be kind of a skilled shepherd to round
you've got to know
up
what
sheep.
you're doing, yeah. It's not as simple as it looks. Come on, Fern, here. Here, Fern, here, Floss.
So we're going to see how fast we can get them in.
Yeah, under a minute, I reckon.
Under a minute.
Jude is an award-winning design engineer. Like Zoe, he also grew up in the countryside.
Come on, then, these ones need to get going.
The rustle happens at an impressive pace. Within moments, the sheep are in the trailer.
So this is pretty impressive. You're getting this done in a relaxed way in about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're saying if you wanted to, if you were a serious criminal, you could get this done in half that time.
Easy. Yeah. If you were pushing, you could easily get it gone. And that's the simple one.
That's it. You can't lock this road because it's public access.
Yeah, this is public, so they can't lock this road. Yeah, it's all too easy.
Sheep rustlers nearly always work at night. They cut out identifying ear tags and can take the sheep almost anywhere for slaughter or sale. In the last 10 years, only a handful of rustlers have been prosecuted. After the reconstruction, we head to a pub to talk through the potential solutions with Mike and a group of other local farmers.
Zoe and Jude have got some bits of tech and kit to show you, which hopefully we're going to be able to look at and pick apart.
First, Zoe tries an infrared beam.
And when something crosses the beam, they sound an alarm. You could easily imagine them between exit and entry points of fields and that kind of thing.
But the problem with that is we live there, and that's there. This is probably about 2.5 miles. By the time we've got dressed, got a vehicle, got a dog, because you would never go anywhere without a dog, would you? And got up there, they could be long gone.
Then ultraviolet dye, which is invisible until a UV light is shone on it.
Could be something that would be triggered to spray criminals. You'd spray their truck, you'd spray the sheep.
But then you've got to find who the criminal is to read the mark.
Yeah.
Then Jude shows off a sound-activated alarm, which he's hoping will detect when the sheep are distressed.
What is this?
This device is when the sort of bleats are at a gentle level, it wouldn't really send much of a signal. But when it gets too loud, it would transmit through this little device via Wi-Fi. And as you can see, if I check my phone, it's been alerting me that
sheep alert.
Sheep alert.
What do you think, gentlemen? Is something like that viable? Could it work?
I think ewes with lambs at foot will bleat when they're distressed.
Yeah.
But store lambs, or hogs as we call them this time of year, very rarely do they bleat.
The farmers aren't convinced. They reject all of Zoe and Jude's first ideas. It's going to be a lot harder than they thought to combat sheep rustling.
Hi Malcolm, this is Zoe ringing about the sheep rustling project. Have you got 10 minutes for me to ask you a few questions?
Having initially failed to impress the farmers with their tech, the team starts speaking to the police, to vets, and leave no stone unturned.
So I've come to a livestock market to watch a sheep auction and really see how sheep are bought and sold. Where you come?
Every sheep has an ear tag with an electronic chip, which identifies it and the farm it's from.
They tell me you're ear tag man. You do chips that go anywhere else on the body or in the body? It's just ear tags?
It's just ear tags.
But thieves can easily remove the tags and replace them with new tags showing a different owner, stopping people knowing they've been stolen.
Okay, Colin, I wasn't wrong. Hey, down on the ear back an hour, £80.
Zoe thinks she has a solution.
Those tags are vulnerable, so I think this fix is about making something that's internal to the sheep, something that the sheep ingests, can stay in there for the life of the sheep, and can be read by these readers. So really the next step is about prototyping those and looking at the materials. There's a lot to do.
Back in London, Zoe begins planning with Jude and Ross.
If we could get somehow a tag inside the sheep, then it couldn't be removed. So sheep actually have something that they already ingest if they need mineral supplements, and that's a bolus. So this is an example of a bolus. Sheep eat zones all the time, and part of their stomach is designed to hold heavy objects. If we could somehow get a tag inside a bolus, then we're looking at essentially an internal tag which is much less easy to remove.
The problem with the current electronic ear tag is it uses radio waves and needs a specialist scanner to read it. Jude has a more modern solution.
You might want to consider one of these things, which is a Bluetooth transmitter.
And also, a key benefit of that is that anyone can read it with their smartphone. We can give people an app, and then anyone can look out for stolen sheep.
So with the app on a smartphone and a Bluetooth bolus inside a sheep, anyone can become a stolen sheep detective.
So can you get a Bluetooth chip into something
that.
this size, or maybe maximum that size?
So that's about as big as it can get.
Yeah.
A bolus can sit in a sheep's stomach for its whole life without causing any harm. It's a perfect place to hide a tracking device.
So we need that inside that, and a phone that can pick it up.
Yeah.
Jude gets straight to work. He miniaturizes the components and uses his 3D printer to build a tiny case for the batteries. Doctor of Materials Zoe will make the housing for the electronics.
Right. So, I'm going to attempt to make a ceramic case in which the electronic gubbins will live. So I've made some plaster blanks. I then drill holes into them. So I just get a bit of slip in here. Pour it into the mould. Once it's been in the mould for a minute or so, the skin starts to form and you can tip out the remaining liquid clay. What's left is a wall and a skin of more solid stuff. I'm going to put them in the oven just to slowly dry them. Ta-da! So that's a slip cast cylinder, which then needs to be fired at 1,260 degrees centigrade, and that will vitrify the material. Fingers crossed, nothing cracks or explodes.
After 36 hours, Zoe's joined by Jude, and then she lifts the lid on the kiln.
Look at them, the little beauties. Oh, I'm pleased with that.
And the battery-powered Bluetooth chip is ready to go.
Can we see if your thing fits into my slot?
Yeah,
Boom, boom.
that's a good idea.
Just to kick us off.
Okay.
Perfect.
Finally, the team dip the boluses in non-toxic wax to make them easier to swallow, add the electronics, and seal the lids.
Past 10 o'clock at night, and I go a bit doolally.
A visit to the shops has given Jude another idea, a way of making the existing ear tags tamper-proof.
I have an ear tag, and I have a tamper-evident tag, which you might have seen in clothing stores. These things spray ink all over your stolen shirt if you try and remove these. Whoa! I'm wondering whether that could actually be used to house the ink. Here goes. It's my replica sheep's ear. Let's see what happens if we cut through it. So there, that's quite a good bit of man.
So any rustler that cuts through Jude's ear tags will mark themselves and the sheep with indelible dye, making the sheep almost impossible to sell at auction.
We've got the ink spike here, and that's both blue for the visual, but it also contains UV invisible dye, but is visible with this.
After 4 months' work, the team have now come up with 2 new ideas to deter the criminals: a tamper-proof ear tag and a hidden tracking device.
We appear to have got the prototyping done, so here it is.
Now they need to put them to the test. After months of work, we're back at Mike's farm getting ready to reenact another sheep rustle. But this time, the farm will be monitored by our team's specially built sheep protection app, Heard It.
Be scared.
Mike. Hey.
All right.
Oh, yeah, all right. Hiya.
Good to see you.
Oi. Nice furry hands.
These guys have been working hard on your behalf.
Have they?
Yeah.
Does it work?
That's what we're going to find out today.
So what we've got is a combination of 2 things. A bunch of ear tags, which are going to have dye in. The other side of it is, you're familiar with boluses, which is what you'd use with your standard applicator. but we've basically put electronics in it that are going to transmit a signal like a beacon.
First, Jude's ink ear tags are fitted in the existing holes in the sheep's ears.
So there we go, and you can see it just coming through here, and there we go, clips in.
Very simple.
Bob's your teapot.
To take that ear tag out?
Yeah.
Oh, I see here, you'd have to cut it there.
So you'd have to get a pair of scissors.
I'm learning.
They thought of that, Mike.
No, that's
yeah,
good.
but you saw if you cut there. Yeah, but that's bad.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'll let you off there. That's pretty good.
The bolus is swallowed painlessly by the sheep, with the welfare of the animal monitored by a local vet.
It's on.
Yeah.
She won't know anything about that.
It's something that you do all the time on the farm.
Yeah.
It's time to put the tech to the test.
Crack on with your rustle! Rustle!
Fetch them on, dogs. Yeah. Get it.
We've got to imagine it's the middle of the night, pitch black, but the rustlers are out, the lorry's off.
In the back of the van, the first layer of protection comes into play, the ink ear tags.
Well, let's just imagine the scene. I'm let's say, an inspector monitoring for rural crime. Can see some suspicious blue on the ear of the sheep here and this one. You're not going to miss that. But look at his hands. Proof that he's been up to no good. How long will it stay on?
So this is developed, you know, this dye for banks, and so it's permanent.
You're roughy-tufty sheep farmers. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it's very good, right? But I still say that there's nothing tying them back to the owner.
Yeah.
65, that's 65, pound mid, 65, 65, 44 and a half, 65.
Are they coming out?
As soon as sheep are offloaded at the market, it's time to see if the bolus actually works.
So the minute I opened my phone, it was telling me...
Instantly?
Yeah.
So
Found sheep.
36846 from flock number 4.
Yeah.
This is Mike's phone, as it were, saying your sheep was last spotted at this location.
You just click, it opens the map.
So there you are, it's saying that's where we are.
It shows, look, they're at the livestock auction. Yeah. You could ring up
and tell Andrew Doble I've caught him.
Yeah, well, you could say, you've got my nicked sheep here.
The test was a spectacular success. The team hope all farmers will use this technology, meaning all their mobile phones become sheep detectors. As soon as a stolen sheep turns up, phones will pick up the signal. There'll be nowhere for a stolen sheep to hide.
The ownership of that sheep was brought into question. We could find a bolus to prove that it's not the vendor's sheep. We could then immediately not offer it for sale, contact Mike if it was his sheep, contact the police, and put it in their hands.
It sounds like, from what you're saying, that this could really, really work.
I think there's every possibility, yeah, that it could be one of the only ways of identifying rustled sheep. I think it's a brilliant achievement which has got the potential to be rolled out across the country and, yeah, revolutionise traceability in sheep.
Wonderful to hear. You've got the technology to this point. What do you need to happen next to make this viable for other farmers?
We need to take this as evidence that the principle works and take it to the National Sheep Association.
Farmers' Union, government departments. We need to ring people.
That's fantastic, really. I mean, you know, that's why well done. Can't say any more. Very impressive. That's all I can say on the subject. I mean, you shot me down. Got to learn to use a phone properly now.
The Fix team are meeting farmers' unions to drum up interest in their sheep protection system. Graham